Hello there. Welcome to my campfire. My name is Seraphine, the Midnight Bard, and I travel from place to place, seeking the strange, the bizarre, and the unexplained. As long as there has been law and order, there have been those who try to circumvent them. Good things come to those who wait, so they say, but there are those who say good things come faster to those who take. And for all the efforts put in place to safeguard the innocent from the endeavors of those who are criminally inclined, it is a sad reality that more often than not, evil gets away. For a while at least. Though it is true that there are limits to what the laws and efforts of mortal men can achieve, sometimes there are forces beyond the normal that are infinitely less forgiving. Tonight, we will explore two tales of those who found out the hard way that crime must always pay. Join me as we dive into Phantom Limb Syndrome and Bullet Time.
Please, I beg of you, mercy!
As part of the game, I deliberately paused and faced my boss. He watched on at the squirming man beneath my grip, pretending to consider his pleas. The pause allowed them to believe, to hope, before it was all taken away. It was my favorite part. I even prolonged it with a gentle whisper of, "Boss?" And finally, he said with a cold brutality, "Do it." And I obliged, bringing the blade down in a quick slam that separated the man's hand from his arm at the wrist. The now stump exploded instantly, squirting blood like a fountain as my boss's former business partner screamed in terror and pain before collapsing and writhing. The message had been sent and, my part done, I walked away. Amputation as a form of punishment was outlawed 20 years ago, and though many were punished for what was considered a barbaric act, due to my connections and the fact that my identity was unknown, I was never caught and certainly never punished. To remember the good times, I sometimes watched the documentaries of those who had survived amputation punishment, those who wept as they discussed a life without a limb or two, and the monsters who had held them down as something was taken away from them forever. I cried also, but only because I missed it so much. Sometimes, whilst amongst my family, my mind would wander as I recalled the good times. I even tried to replicate the feeling as much as possible, but it was never the same. Nothing could compare to the feeling of the initial separation of skin, the feel of a thick bone, normally so tough, separating like warm butter. The sound of the screams that didn't haunt me, but soothed me. It was in the middle of the night that my bedsheets were removed. I groaned, cursing at my wife, only to realize with sudden fear that she wasn't by my side. She'd gone to her sister's for the week. I was home alone. I bolted up, figuring it was some of my victims out for revenge, but with a slam I was forced downwards and onto my back. Adrenaline flooded through me and I protested loudly, but it was strange. I was being held down on every inch of my body, but I couldn't see anyone. I demanded to know who they were, for them to show themselves rather than hiding in the dark, but nobody replied nor came to view. Until the large meat cleaver, one I recognized instantly from my glory days, appeared to float into the room. Panic filled me, for I understood, but that wasn't enough. They wanted me to know. And as the light switch was flicked twice, it revealed the truth for half a second as my pained eyes adjusted to the sudden illumination. Thousands of severed hands, their fingers wriggling, held me perfectly still as the blade was brought down on my neck. Hey there, Campfire Gang. Before we continue on with the next story, be sure to strike the like and subscribe buttons if you are enjoying the video. Also, head down to the comment section and let me know what you would do if faced with 100 disembodied hands. Me personally, I'm thinking Thumb War tournament, but I'd love to hear what you have in mind. Thanks for stopping by. Now on to the next story. I have a confession to make. My accident didn't make me any faster. My true power was to slow down time as much as I want. I slowed down time by about 50% whenever I was in a fist fight, and about 70% when it got really dangerous so I could avoid the hits. I became a legend in my gang, and I was quickly promoted to capo within 8 months. Dodging and weaving like a magical fucking maniac, I took out my enemies like it was nothing. True, a bullet would kill me. As I said, I wasn't invincible, nor was I faster than anyone. I simply slowed down time so that I always knew before they even lifted their guns to aim at me. Sound was slow and roaring in bullet time, but I long since learned how to decipher the cocking of a gun, the deep thud of a footstep. Whenever I wasn't working, I was always practicing my switching. Turning it on and off was easy, I just had to will it. Speed of thought, you know? My first brawl, I slowed down time to a standstill, trying to figure out what was going on. Ever since the doctor put that metal plate in my head after I got shot, I'd never lost another fight. I was unstoppable. Of course, I learned the hard way that bullet time didn't make me invincible. The first few fights, I quickly realized that no matter how slow time ran for me, catching a bat from behind still hurt. It took a little longer for my body to register the pain, but I felt it for weeks after. So for a year, I was the terror of my city. My streets were peaceful because with an enforcer like me, there was nothing anybody could do to us. I once took out an entire squad before they'd even fired their guns. A bullet each to the head from 20 paces. Well, times were good then. The Don was going to make me his right-hand man by the end of the year. Then, Christmas came. They hit us when we were totally off guard. I should have known some of the other capos were jealous, but they hid it pretty well. I thought I saw Nicky Two Toes bringing in the boxes of champagne, and I did wonder why that goon was doing something so menial, but after the girls jumped out of the cakes, we were all so jazzed we didn't know what hit us. I slowed down time just as the hall blew up. I went to 99% in a panic. The blast had ripped apart the gorgeous young lady to my right. I slowed down time just as the pieces of shrapnel dug into my eye. Fuck! I don't know how long it's been like this. I can't even remember the details anymore. Time. I'm afraid to let it go, but I'm even more afraid of what would happen to me if I don't. Thank you for tuning in to this week's story, Campfire Gang. Remember to leave a like and hit subscribe if you haven't done so already. If you are enjoying my content and would like to help support the channel, please check out my Patreon link in the description, like these honorary bards. Also, be sure to check out the authors' links in the description to see more of their work, or to contact them and tell them how much you enjoyed their story. Be safe out there, friends. I look forward to meeting you again by the light of the campfire.